Well, after a few weeks and a few months of competitive action, we've come to the final race meeting of the season, and we couldn't have really picked a better place to decide the World GT Championship title. Here at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, in the deepness of the Ardennes forest. It's Easter weekend. Happy Easter to you celebrating it, and it's a bank holiday as well. And we're ready for 3 20-minute sprint races to decide the title. And it's still just about all to play for in the Pro-Am, and in the Teams Championship. Welcome to the broadcast tonight on the iRacing Esports Network, alongside me, Adam Bath, as he has been all the way through the season. It is Sam Fitzpatrick. Sam, welcome. And Spa, we've looked at it all season, and we probably couldn't really pick a better place to win the season tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a classic circuit for all types of cars, single-seaters, GT cars, as these are, and certainly very looking forward to this one. As you said, both championships in the drivers are still slightly open, but it's really just about Michael Blake and Carl Janssen finishing off the season on a decent note. They've just got to make sure that they finish 2 out of the 3 races should be enough for them to clinch the title. But I'm sure, regardless of the title, we're going to see plenty of action out there. A few drivers maybe out of the championship. They've got nothing to lose, so we could see some very entertaining racing out there today.
Hope so. Should be good. Apologies for going on a bit later than scheduled. Basically, I needed to get back up to where the PC was, and hopefully we treated you to the full Season 5 trailer in all its glory, but we'll move on. We'll bring you through the championship standings in a moment, because of course it is a very long pace lap here, and you can see that by the time set in qualifying. It is Carl Janssen and Christian Rose that are going to start 1 and 2 for the final race meeting of the season. They're 1 and 2 in the championship, and it's just about possible for Christian Rose to pip Carl Janssen to the title here. Moving on back, it's Jake Blackwell, the Aussie, starting in third, with Ben Hackerson joining him on row 2. Then it's Dave Baker, Miguel Freitas, Dan Kraft there in 7th, and Chris Wood in 8th. Ben Gregory 9th, and Simon Underhill starting in 10th. Interesting development there in terms of the Pro-Am battle. Then it's Mike Gray starting in 11th, Dion Phillips 12th, 13th for Stuart McFadden, 14th for Mark Woodhouse. Then we've got a flurry of Pro-Am drivers in between that, with Andy Shield there in 16th, Paul Smith 15th, Michael Blake 17th, David White 18th place, 19th for Lee Deemer, and 20th for Jerome Kaiser, 21st for Rusty Laidler, 22nd Ronald Moons at his home race, Tom Jacobs 23rd, then James Underhill, Adam Hedgecock, Lars Van Ryn, Josh Rayfield, Paul Gosling, Jason Rowe, John Roberts, Lee Woodburn, and Matt Bunn starting at the back. And that is the state of play for the 32 cars that are set to take to the grid any moment now. We haven't really seen any of the cars. There they are, Sam, as we get set to go. And in terms of the championship, we just mentioned it. Janssen and Rose, the top 2 in the championship, on the front row of the grid. And Rose is going to have to hope for something probably more mathematically possible than realistically possible for him to take the title here.
Yeah, I think so. I think if Janssen heavily outscores Rose in this first race, that might just seal it. Unlike the rest of the race, we've had 11 races so far. The drivers are able to drop one of those 11 races, but they must make this one count. They're not allowed to drop this one. So it does open up the championship a little bit. So currently Janssen's got a 147-point lead, and 224 points are available today. So a good result here would almost seal it. But Christian Rose, not usually a fantastic qualifier, up on the front row of the grid, so looking strong. Maybe he's got a bit of extra pace today, and I'm sure even if he doesn't win the championship, he'd like to win one of the 3 races this evening.
Probably get going. A happy birthday to Michael Blake. If we let him win, apparently Newman's Nibbles will send out free cupcakes. Not too sure. Not too sure about that. Well, yeah, potentially true. I'm not too sure. Let us know on the YouTube chat. Make sure you can join the conversation there. Here come Carl Janssen and Christian Rose through the final corner then. And we're going to get set for the first race of the day. It's the Grand Prix layout here. The green lights are on, and we're underway for the first race of the day here. Spin at the back, crash at the back, Sam, already. There's a Porsche around. That might be Tom Jacobs and a few others involved in all sorts of mess before we even get going here. I think it's James Underhill that's the big sufferer there.
Yeah, I think a few drivers maybe just a little bit slow to get away. It's yeah, James Underhill having to retire back to the pits. He'll pick up a fast repair, thankfully, but he's not going to be particularly competitive for the rest of this race. Here they come, then up the hill. The Porsche apparently struggles, has got Johan Kaiser off the circuit. He had a decent start of 20th position, I believe, but he's right to the back, and somehow, despite crashing at Radion, he hasn't got too much damage.
Problem a few guys already then as we go to the top of the hill into Lacombe. No problems for the Swede, Carl Janssen, sim racing driver, doing a great job in the early going. He's already established about 4/10 of the second lead over Christian Rose, but that CQR race up car will be doing its utmost to make sure that he doesn't get away. Oh, he disappears there for a brief moment. You can see a lot of movement going on in the top 10. Underhill McFadden dropping down to 14th place there in the 10 years CQR car, in the 10 years CQR Ferrari in fact. He's now going into battle with Mark Woodhouse in a small-time racing car, Paul Smith's teammate, who has got a YouTube stream going as he usually does tonight. Commentator on this very channel as well as cars descend through Pouhon.
Yeah, fantastic corner, running a little bit wide there was McFadden, but he's managed to fend off that position. But a little bit, small-time racing cars almost crashing into one another and really costing each other a lot of time. Paul Smith there just being held up by Mark Woodhouse, and it's allowed Michael Blake, of course, the champion-elect. He's about 100 points ahead in the championship, so looking very good for Michael Blake currently. He just needs to get some strong results, and well, that's what he's been doing all season long, just consistent top 20 finishes, and that's really how you win that championship. But here comes Paul Smith trying to respond, still going on ahead with the likes of McFadden, so really chaotic in this range of about 10 to 20 cars. So just running off the circuit a little bit, no instant limits for these drivers. Very deep on the brakes are a couple of the cars, and they just about bundled their way through.
Oh, no, nearly, and I think that might have been, that surely wasn't two Immortal cars colliding, was it? Let me just try and find which one it was. It's Lee Diemer, and he's having to do one of the world's largest spin turns. It doesn't help there's these cars have so much grip, but he eventually gets it done. And problem for him, but he's got going again. Dave Baker dropping down the timing screens. What's happened here? Dave Baker is... something's broke. He was inside the top 10 at in the early going here, and something has gone catastrophically wrong. So problem for Dave Baker, former BSRTC champion. Not too sure if it's a hardware failure or something. Drama at the end of the opening lap. Let's take a look at the replay then. This is what happened to Lee Diemer. He has got one of the Sim Auto Dragon Internet cars behind, is that? Let's have a look into the final corner. It does look like it's potentially teammates. It's number 69. That is Ronald Moons. Oh dear. Two teammates colliding there. And now we're going to find out what happened to Dave Baker, because this could be interesting. Let's roll on board so we can... Car's crabbing, isn't it, Sam, I think? Looking from the onboard there.
Yeah, yes. It already is. And he was flashing his lights before, so I wonder if he's maybe made some contact with another driver before this. Here we go.
Everything looks
side by side this with Hackerson, I believe. So Baker around the outside. Is he just going to make a little bit of contact? Yes. And that was enough, seemingly. Oh, maybe that did the job as well. And you can see from his hands in the car there that the steering's broken. And, well, not sure which contact it was, but those combined have completely ruined his race.
It's drama at the end of the opening lap, but no such dramas for this man. Or, in fact, for the top three. They are all away. Miguel Freitas has gained 2 spots and is up to 4th. And here is a decent battle going on here between Chris Wood and Ben Gregory in a TechSense Fitstar Motorsports car, taking a few liberties with that Exit Blanchimont, but it seems to be, like everybody's doing the case, it looks like it's the IndyCar track limits policy we're adapting here, as up the inside goes Chris Wood. Small Time Racing in the battles that we've been covering so far tonight. We saw Woodhouse in one earlier, and now we've got Chris Wood. Also, watch out for, that is Stuart McFadden in a 10 years CQR car, looking up the inside of Andy Shields, CQR colleague, 007. No mistaking that livery either. We don't really have too many of the CQR Sim Sports involved here. Freitas is dropping down the order, but he is returning to where he was.
Connection issues, I guess, for Miguel Freitas, because the same is appearing for me, so maybe just struggling with his ping ever so slightly. McFarren once again has got a little bit of a poor exit there, and losing a little bit of time to the drivers around. That's an epic battle amongst all those guys. Closing up a little bit at the front. Janssen now only half a second ahead of rows. The Ford and the Porsche, not quite sure where their strengths will lie. Apparently the Porsche lacks a little bit of straight line speed, that real top end grunt. And the Ford, I think, is good through the high speed corners. As we go back to this battle, Wood has managed to get past Ben Gregory, but Gregory is not going to give up yet. Through No Name corner, just cannot really nail the exit going into Pion. But I think he's going to be under pressure this time from Dion Phillips. Phillips looks to the inside, not usually an overtaking spot. He's going to try to make it one. As off the circuit there goes Chris Wood, and he's going to lose a lot of positions, and he's got to be careful getting back onto the circuit as well. You can see how he's lost, what, 3, 4, maybe even 5 positions there as Chris Wood. So did the hard work, and now look at all that hard work right in front of him.
They paid the price there. McFadden smells blood in the water here, and he's hoping to wipe the smile off the Smart Time Racing driver as Woods is able to power around the outside and just about keep that Porsche above the top, or inside the top 12. Lap 3 then, 20-minute race, 3 20-minute sprint races, nothing really like it in terms of iRacing for GT Racing here is XVR Silver versus Dion Phil. Oh, crash! And off goes Simon Underhill into the tyre barrier. Oh, he might have just avoided it, you know, actually. Comes back onto the circuit. Careful, everybody's going at almost double the speed you are. Oh, goodness me, nearly gets clattered into the back by one of the boosted with a Savage Gaming. Off goes Chris Wood again, going through the bus stop chicane. That's going to be a slowdown penalty for him at the very least, and a whole lot more positions lost as he tumbles down to 22nd.
Yeah, awful lap there for Chris Wood. Of course, Simon Underhill second in the AM Championship currently, so just more good news for Michael Blake. This happened, he just got a complete, just complete slide there. Tried to overcorrect it and, well, went into the wall pretty hard, but that Ford, I do know, is very strong, and this is what happened to Wood. Kind of just getting a little bit lost there. Thought that there was maybe a cut through available, and getting back onto the cycle from that part is very, very difficult. Here we are with Wood trying to come back once again down into 22nd position, was as high as 6th place, I believe, just a couple of laps to go. Wood going to try to go around the outside, didn't leave too much room, but he looks as though he's going to get past the 96 car on the outside again, and this is fantastic racing between the two of them, almost contact again. This is with Josh Rayfield and Tom Jacobs just up the road. Wood very strong on the brakes though, and he should have the ideal line here.
Quite a few Ferraris involved in here in the midfield. You can see there with Rayfield and Gosling as well, Paul Gosling there. Good starts by looking at the biggest gainers. Andy Shields up 6 positions, also up 5 Ronald Moons. Of course, he collided with his teammate Lee Deemer on his way to getting one of those spots. In terms of the Pro-Am fight, it is currently Mike Gray that is leading the way here in P9. He's battling with Dion Phillips there, and he's got Ben Gregory just a little bit further ahead. Mike Gray sits in 11th place in the Pro-Am standings. In terms of the Pro-Am title fight, you're looking at the battle between Michael Blake and Simon Underhill, and at the moment Underhill's down in 18th place after not the most ideal start. He started ahead of Blake on the track, but since the start he's gone a bit further back. I wonder if something might have happened in that formation lap.
Underhill went off into the wall on that last lap, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nomad car. Yeah, so he's got a little bit of damage as well.
Yeah.
But that Ford, of course, once upon a time when the Ford was first introduced to iRacing some 2 years ago, quite remarkable how it is that long ago now. It was so brittle that you hit a curb and it was completely gone. So iRacing decided to fix that. Maybe went a little bit too far the other way. And now the front of the car, you can smash into it at about 100 miles an hour and not too much damage is done. So you might just get away with that one. Mike Gray, what a good performance this is from him. Top Joe. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of a presence from XVR next season in the World GT Championship. The likes of Nicole Foggy and Johnny Brandon, of course, and of course that'll help Mike as well to maybe make a push for the title. Very close between Smith and Blake just behind this. They are currently side by side just going into Lake Coombe, and Smith trying to go around the outside there. Blake trying to go for the move. Can't quite make out the move, but that's not a good exit from Smith. Having to go right to the inside of the circle. We've seen this outside line work very well so far, but he got to try such a longer distance, and Smith will just try to push him out as much as possible. And who's that getting involved? I think that's David White trying to get past in the CQR Sim Sports car.
Good battle this, and yeah, David White, he fancied an opportunity there to try and sneak through, but Paul Smith and Michael Blake firmly closing the door. Blake sitting in P4 in terms of the Pro-Am fight, and of course David White is also in there too. So this is really flying formation pretty much. You can see there we've got the top 8 all pro drivers, and we've got Mike Gray there. Then we've got Shield and McFadden both pros, and then after that we've got quite a lot of Pro-Am drivers from Woodhouse all the way down to Underhill in 19th place, and that will please Underhill a little bit because, of course, for race 2 and race 3 we do have reverse grids, and if he's in P19 that gives him a relatively good shout of being in there for if we get a really big reverse grid. Michael Blake will be hoping for one of the smallest ones possible, like number 14, which I must say has been coming up quite a bit, number 14. So let's see if it's the turn of Michael Blake to be on pole this time, as Chris Wood goes up to P19. Getting past Underhill, who's now trying to get back past in the Nomad green car going into the bus stop.
Oh, Wood! Wow, how he missed that one. And well, he's got used to having to do that turning circle, having to cut the circuit now. Is Chris Wood, so he's back down into 26th position. 1 step forwards, 5 steps back right now for Chris Wood. A very frustrating race for him, but hopefully he can get in that reverse grid because he's clearly got a lot of pace up there, and he'll have a good result in races 2 and 3. Mike Gray is still on fire out there. He's in 9th position, maybe just lost that position actually to Dion Phillips. So both closing rapidly on Ben Gregory. Round the outside, here comes Gray. Will Phillips gets boxed in a little bit. No, he's going to try not to, but Gray trying to muscle his way around the outside, just wasn't the space. And now it's Andy Shield going down the inside, and Gray just getting a bit of oversteer, and it's Shield moving up into 9th position after a disappointing qualifying for him, and round goes that was David White then with the contact.
Yeah, that was Simon Underhill as well, I think, and also off his David White is off. He's come back onto the circuit now, but while that was all going on, there was something going on. There was something unfolding a bit further back too. Let's have a look at what happened here. Paul Smith defending from the Sim Orsal car, which I'm guessing is Michael Blake. Then in entered David White. Is he gonna? Locks the rear potentially. Well, either way, it loops around, and then entering the contact in front. So problems for those guys. Paul Smith dropping down the order. He's off at Pouon. Is he got similar problems to what David Baker's had or not? He looks like all 4 wheels look like they're pointing in the right direction. But the Yorkshireman has dropped down to 26th place. I wonder what happened here. Let's take a look at oh dear me, now this is all sorts of chaos. This is Dion Phillips who's gone off the circuit. And we've caught that a bit late. Here it is.
And Gray as well, I believe it was.
Paul Smith had already lost it going into the corner, and Dion Phillips had already had his crash before then. Oh, and that's not going to help the Excite Energy car. And there's Mike Gray too, Sam.
Yeah, so he had another incident after almost losing the car a few corners prior to this. Loses it there. Oh no, he's going to come together with Dion Phillips. So that we're trying to put together this 1,000-piece puzzle currently, but I think we've just about got to the bottom of it. Phillips spun into Gray, and then they both collected Smith in the end, who had a bit of a spin himself. So pretty chaotic down that Pouon corner, but now calming down a bit. Rusty Laidler now up into 12th place. Michael Blake, I believe, as he's done so often this season, now the top AM driver, really hasn't done too much spectacular, but just keeping his car clean, and well, that's the reason why he's well on course for the title. Here comes Moons then, trying to get past Laidler. The Porsche having good straight line speed there, and easing his way past his CQR Tarkov rival.
And here's Tom Jacobs and Adam Hedgecock there now, going wheel to wheel through Lacombe, now through Malmedy, the right-hander here. Should also say that something's happened at the final corner on that lap, because Jason Rozier and Kaiser, David White and Lars Van Ryn have all come up as showing as crashed. Paul Smith's crashed again apparently. He's down in 24th place now. 31 cars on the lead lap here. Pretty easy to stay on the lead lap, must admit, with how long a lap it is. So even if you do tow back to the pits, you usually do. You have to have a pretty wrecked car to end up losing a lap, and of course it's a fast repair here, so once you're back to the pits you can get going again. As drifting wide there, Ferrari off stage wide. That's another one, that's Paul Gosling. We saw one of the Northern Lights GTM mega cars that was almost went off into the wall. That was Josh Rayfield, and a run there for Gosling as he goes off into the wall there on the entry into Puon as Mike Gray now tries to get past Simon Underhill.
Yeah, this is usually the slightly duller race of the three, but we've seen just absolute craziness so far. These drivers making plenty of mistakes. The track temperature is 25 degrees, so not really particularly warm. Just think what it's going to be like later on as we see side by side. Gray with damage. Underhill went into the wall on the on the driver's right at about 100 miles an hour earlier on. So they're both been in the walls so far. Underhill barely any damage, at least from what I can see, and he's certainly making that pay at the moment, holding back the XVR driver. This is the battle for 17th and 18th place. So it's looking good for both of them to get into the reverse grid.
Battles everywhere you look here. Penalty for Underhill. People on the YouTube chat asking for a penalty for Underhill for what a poor rejoin he did after his crash earlier, which is true. I was a bit sceptical about that. We'll wait and see what the organisers do. Of course, it is the final race meeting of the season, so I don't know what penalties can be applied. Here comes Mark Woodhouse then. Top am as things stand. You can see that by the red windscreen. Straight band contact with McFadden, and he might not be the top pro-am anymore. Here comes Michael Blake. Oh, goodness, he has to take evasive action. Hopefully everybody else sees him as Mark Woodhouse gets out of the way. And Michael Blake lives to fight another day as McFadden drops down the timing screen too, as a result of the contact that he also sustained with Woodhouse. So both drivers coming off equally as bad there, and I think Woodhouse's car might be too damaged to continue, which is a shame. He's trying to reverse and get into first gear. Is everything pointing in the right direction? It looks like it is. So now he's got going again. Things might get a bit better. Stuart McFadden is gone, and I don't know whether that's DQ or not, but that is the end of his day.
Yeah, no limit in terms of the instance for these drivers, so that shouldn't be an issue. And I haven't seen anything popped up with Stuart McFadden has been disqualified. In fact, he's immediately left the session, so not particularly pleased. There's Shield losing a bit of his connection. Freitas going off the circuit then.
Yeah, I think.
And probably to avoid the disappearing car in front of him.
Yeah, you probably got a bit spooked there, I think. I would have been anyway. As they go through Blanchemont. Two BMWs here that not the highest BMWs by looking at the timing screen anyway. That is Darren Craft that's currently up in 4th. First Ferrari is down in 6th, and that is Ben Gregory. So manufacturers represented in the top 6 as we come across the line to start what will be I think we might just get about another 2 laps. So judging from where Carl Janssen is on the circuit anyway, he's just going through Eau Rouge now, so I think we might just squeeze in another lap after this one, but we haven't really talked about these two. It's Christian Rose leading the way, and then it's Carl Janssen leading the way, then Christian Rose in second. The top 2 in the championship, separated by 145 points going into this one. So you can see why we said that Christian Rose is going to have to do something stellar here and hope for a calamity or catastrophe of a race meeting for Carl Janssen for him to get the title. But as things stand, it's those two, 1-2, and then it's Jake Blackhall in 3rd as we go back to this battle, this inter-BMW battle between Freitas and Shield. That's the Johnny Herbert line, I think, going through Les Combes there, and it's allowed Andy Shield through as a result. That Les Combes chicane is completely tarmac now, so good to see on iRacing it's still having a bit of grass and a bit of a challenge for all of the drivers that are here. And Freitas either having fun or having a BMW. There's a bit of a handful at the moment.
Yeah, seemingly. Of course, once you heat up those tyres, can be very difficult to cool them back down. It can cost you for several corners, especially in this middle sector of the lap where it's just long corner after long corner. Really do need to have a lot of trust in the car to make sure that you don't slide. As Underhill trying to come back once again, so despite that damage, going back at Adam Hedgecock, who's having a good run. Also Tom Jacobs. I think this would be Tom's best results of the season, up in 12th position. Hasn't been able to do all the races so far this season, but he's been one of the few drivers who has kept it clean out there, and is looking very good at the moment for Team Lizard Motorsports. As Underhill closes in on Hedgecock. He wants to get that 14th position to absolutely guarantee his reverse grid spots. As round the outside there goes Wood. He's been in the troubles, but he has pulled off a fantastic move there on Mike Gray. And, despite, 3 crashes or something, Chris Wood is up into 16th place.
Yeah, he's got to know the bus stop chicane runoff area here. What about Simon Underhill? Can he get up into 14th? A position that could be so crucial in terms of the reverse grid. He's going to send it up the inside here as we're about to start the final lap, and Carl Janssen and Christian Rose have already started it. Great move by Underhill up the inside into the chicane, and he is up into 14th place now. We'll see how crucial that is with the reverse grid in a little while, because of course we've got that to look forward to at the end of this one. 2 more races to go as well, and although the pro title fight looks all but done, the Pro-Am fight is only just beginning here, with Michael Blake up in 8th and Simon Underhill clawing his way back up through the field after that crash at Blanchimont. For many drivers that could have been race over, but he's carried on here, and the Nomad green car is up to 14th place. Can he try and catch Josh Rayfield, who's had a very good race? 14 places gained before we get to the checker flag. Who's this current trying to go up for the middle? Chris Wood arriving on the scene. That Porsche was going over fair rate or not, so it looks like Hedgecock is going to get back past Underhill going into Lake On. Was it a poor run out of there by Simon, Sam, or was it just the slipstream that really paid into the Porsche's hands?
Yeah, not quite sure. Like I said earlier on, Underhill with that big crash, maybe that damage is actually costing him, despite it not showing too much for us. But around this part of the circuit, he seems to be quite strong, does Simon Underhill. So going to be a nice battle, and this, of course, for such an important position, 14th place, could be the reverse grid pole. We'll find out in a few minutes, of course, as Carl Janssen very nearly to the checkered flag.
It is. We're not too far away from that for Janssen. He's coming into the bus stop chicane now, so we'll have to leave this battle. We'll come back to it in a moment. Carl Janssen, though, the championship leader, he's coming through the final corner now, and it's going to be another win for him. It's going to be race victory at Spa, his 8th win of the season, and it could be so crucial in terms of the fight for the title. 2nd for Christian Rose, 3rd for Jake Blackwell. They round out the podium places, and here comes Michael Blake now. He's got a bit of a damaged rear, but he won't worry about that too much, as so long as he can get through the final corner. Miguel Freitas and Andy Scheel separated by a 10th of a second in their battle for 7th. And here comes Blake now. Some extra points on the board, and it could be so crucial in terms of the Pro-Am fights. What about Underhill, Hedgecock and Rayfield? It looks like it's going to be as you were from when we last checked in on them. It's going to be 14th for Hedgecock, 15th for Underhill, and if it's a 14th place reverse grid, that could be a title-defining moment in the fight to be Pro-Am champion. Here, Josh Rayfield, personal best on the final lap, so he definitely had some pace in there. As we got to the end, Matt Bunn versus Jerome Kaiser here in the battle for 27th and 28th, Sam.
Yep, Kaiser leaving a lot of space on the inside, and well, Bunn's just going to go straight through. Neither of these guys will be in the reverse grid. Kaiser, though, good speed round the outside, but I think it's going to be Bunn on the run to the line. Them struggling to get to the line right at the end there, but Bunn does take away that 27th position, despite all the issues for drivers. Seemingly we're going to have 30 out of 32 drivers take the checkered flag, which is impressive. Of course, they do get a faster pair, but still, good willpower from the drivers to stick with that one, because I imagine quite a few of them were frustrated very quickly.
Thanks to Michael Evdoka on the YouTube chat for helping explain to anyone that's new in the broadcast what the red and white number blocks mean. White meaning pro, and the red meaning Pro-Am. If they flash up red, that means that they go off the circuit. They've been off the circuit, and hopefully we'll find out the reason that happened. So, end of the opening race, a good one to start the evening, and they've laid down the gauntlet in terms of the action we're expecting here at Spa. And this was only race 1, where we've got the quickest guys at the front. So let's bring you through the finishing order from race 1 here at Spa in the final race meeting of the season. Carl Janssen wins, Christian Rose finishing in 2nd, Jake Blackwell just 1.3 seconds behind the CQR Race Hub driver at the race end. Daniel Crafts finishing in 4th, Ben Hackerson 5th, 18.888 seconds behind the race leader was Ben Gregory. Car 007 Andy Scheel, Miguel Freitas in 8th, Michael Blake giving some cake for everybody in the YouTube chat as he takes the Pro-Am win. Ronald Moons finishing in 10th, 2nd of the Pro-Ams. Then it's Rusty Laidler in 11th. He spoke to us last week about how he's really getting to grips with iRacing and loving his racing again, and you can see there that it's continued here. 3rd place in the Pro-Ams. Tom Jacobs in 12th, 13th for Josh Rayfield, 14th for Adam Hedgecock, and there's Simon Underhill in 15th. Still a good result despite what happened at Blanchimont. But in terms of the reverse grid, we'll have to wait and see what delivers there. He'll be hoping for P16 to be reversed because he'll put him on the front row, and that's where Chris Wood finished. Mike Gray in 17th, David White in 18th place, then Paul Smith dropped back to finish in 19th, and then the two Booster with Savage Gaming teammates, Lars Van Ryn and John Roberts, in 20th and 21st places respectively. Then it's Lee Woodburn, Jason Rowe, Paul Gosling, Lee Deemer there, and then Mark Woodhouse, Matt Bunn, Sharon Kaiser, Dave Baker, terminal damage to him. He got back going though once he got that fast repair. James Underhill down there too. Stuart McFadden out very early on, and Dion Phillips got absolutely smashed into by Mike Gray, who was remarkably able to continue after the smashing that he took in that crash at Pouon in the early stages. Right then, time for the first reverse grid of the evening. So we'll look forward to that one. We've got two reverse grids to look forward to tonight, of course, because we've got it in race the end of race 1, like we've got here, and then we'll get it all done again at the end of race 2 for race 3. The last few weeks, the reverse grid has tended to be a small one. Let's see if we can get it up into the 20s this time and really throw a cat amongst the pigeons in this World GT Championship grid. So any moment now, the reverse grid wheel will load up. And it has. Here it is. Let's run you through it then. Smallest a reverse grid could be is 14. Biggest it could be is 22. So let's spin it and find out who's going to be on the pole for the second race of the day here in the World GT Championship at Spa. Very nearly 22, Sam. It's 16. Who's that going to be on the pole? It's going to be Chris Wood, isn't it?
Will be. So after all of that, he ends up on pole position. See, I feel sorry for Mike Gray because he was having an awesome run, and then I think made a mistake. So and had a couple of other issues. Finished in 17th place, and David White just missing out as well in 18th. But it'll be Chris Wood on the pole position along with Simon Underhill. So we're watching that battle between Hedgecock, Underhill, and Wood. They all get in the reverse grid, which is good. Josh Rayfield and Tom Jacobs will be in 4th and 5th position. So plenty of AM drivers there. I believe the first, well, Wood is a pro driver, but then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7th, and 8th are all AM drivers. So should be an interesting one.
Should be indeed. Yeah, 16 cars reversed for the second race of the day. And as Christian Rose puts in the YouTube chat, that could pretty much seal the result of race 1 has pretty much sealed the title for Carl Janssen. We'll wait on confirmation for that. We'll hopefully let you know after the break. And we'll be getting set for the second race of the day here in the World GT Championship at Spa. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps for the second race of the day in the World GT Championship. Of course, it's the Easter festivities this weekend. Hope that's all been going well. Really nice bank holiday weekend here in the UK, must be said. Much Easter eggs have been consumed, or are being consumed, I should say, here in the commentary box anyway, alongside me, Adam Baffin, and Sam Fitzpatrick. And Sam was looking at the grid. It's Chris Wood leading them away, and after that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 or 8 Pro-Am cars all in the mix, which could make this second race really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the squabbling amongst them in the early stage could be very entertaining. Or will Wood be able to pull away? He has the only pro driver out of these front guys. Could be a fantastic opportunity for him to win this race after a decent size reverse grid. The race 1 winner of Carl Janssen starting down in 16th place, Christian Reyes in 15th place. So difficult to call this one. Will the top guys be able to make their way through the field? I think Chris Wood is looking very good if he can get a good start here.
Titles are on the line in the Pro and the Pro-Am Championship. Through the final corner we go then. Green flags are going to go out in a moment. Now they do. Race 2 of the day, the World GT Championship gets underway here at Spa-Francorchamps. Looks like there's been no crashes this time, but look at the cars fanning out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, nearly 5 wide, getting on the brakes into La Source. Good start from Laidler. Good start from, oh wow, as out goes wide there goes the Team Mad BMW. That is driven by Miguel Freitas. He's right in the mix there. He's got Andy Shield for Company 2. Let's hope all these guys manage to sort each other out going into Eau Rouge here for the first time. Oh, there goes one of the Ferraris. That's Josh Rayfield, who's going to surely pick up a solo penalty. Crash at the front. Surely that's a crash at the front. I don't know who it was, but
Tom Jacobs, I believe.
Oh, nightmare start for Tom Jacobs. Maybe Josh Rayfield too. Not too sure. On the brakes into Lacon for the first time. It's Chris Wood leading. Then it's Simon Underhill. Then it's Adam Hedgecock. Then it's Miguel Freitas. Then Ronald Moons, who's going into battle with Andy Shield here. He's going to go around the outside actually of Ronald Moons now. Through goes Andy Shield. Watch out for Ben Gregory and Hackerson. Gregory up the inside. Hackerson gets bulked by the Simmortal Porsche driven by Moons, who looks like he's got a bit of damage to the front of that car too. And Rusty Laidler's jumped to the pits. He was one of the other cars involved. Don't know where they disappeared to. They might have hit the wall with such a whack that they took off into the sky, potentially. We'll have a look at a replay of what happened at the end of the opening lap. But through they go, through Pouon. And it's still not over in this battle as Ronald Moons continues to go backwards now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting shuffled out a little bit of damage as well on that Belgian driver's car as Hackerson and Kraft go side by side just ahead. That's going to be Hackerson, or is it going to be Kraft actually winning out that one? I think it's just Kraft moving ahead. Janssen up 5 places already, with Crucially getting ahead of Blackhall and Rose. And so every driver ahead of Janssen now, Janssen will be feeling pretty confident because he's significantly faster than pretty much everyone ahead of him. First up for him, Ronald Moons, who has been overtaken plenty of times already on this opening lap, and that's a nice move there from the Ford driver. Still Wood leading out in the out in front as White has a little bit of a knock now. He's side by side with Paul Smith. He's got to be careful of Mike Gray in the XVR car just ahead. But, well, in fact, it's actually going to be Smith doing a pretty good job of sticking around the outside. As, I've got a spinner. That was Josh Rayfield for GT Omega having a spin coming out of the final corner.
Right, let's start for him. Look at this. It's all close for the lead. It's also pretty close in the fight for third. This is Miguel Freitas versus Adam Hedgecock. And if you look at the timing tower, almost all of those Pro-Am cars that were in the top 8 have disappeared from the opening lap. Of course, Laidler and Jacobs being 2. That look like they've been ejected from the circuit. Let's have a look at what's going on here then. Down the back straight, we might even have to turn our attention to the lead. You can see both of them just about in the same camera shot. It's Smile Time Racing versus Nomad Green, and this could be a potentially crucial race for Simon Underhill, and he doesn't want to lose it by getting into contact with Chris Wood. But the two of them keeping just about enough space between the two. He's going to cut to the inside, but Chris Wood is wise to that move. And now the Ford is going to have to try and go around the outside of Rivage, where there isn't really too much space around there, or too much grip around there either, and the Porsche is able to hold on for now. But meanwhile, Ben Gregory versus Adam Hedgecock, and it's Hedgecock that has to yield in the end. Right, let's have a look at what happened in Eau Rouge on the opening lap of the race. Here is Rusty Laidler. Going for a rouge here, everything's fine. What's going to happen to the Team Lizard car? It's going to go off. Oh! Never to be seen again. Probably in some part of the Ardennes somewhere. But that is what happened to Rusty Laidler, and yeah, him and Jacobs pretty much gone from the get-go. I don't know how long it takes to tow a car back to the pits from outer space, Sam, but I don't know if Laidler's back on the track. No, he isn't, is the answer.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, about 3 minutes, I guess, to tow back a car around this circuit. Of course, he was very far away from the hits, as we see Janssen now on Hackerson. Hackerson with a decent start himself, but easy for Janssen there. And he's using all the space available. Of course, a pro driver would have raced around this circuit at the opening round, I believe, and he had to abide by those track limits a lot, so he's quite enjoying really not having any regards for them today, as now he's going to get past Adam Hedgecock, who's been one of the few AM drivers not to have gone tumbling down the field, but he is now down 5 positions into 8th. Janssen up into 7th place, and he's only 5 seconds off the race lead.
We started off the season at Watkins Glen, where we had many cars take to the sky. We had one of the mother of all crashes at on the back straight there. That'll probably much go down in World GT folklore, as Ronald Moons, the Belgian, and his home race is involved in a good scrap here. But we might have to turn our attention further up the field, because once again it's these two. It's the 2 BMWs. It's Andy Scheel and it's Miguel Freitas fighting over the final spot on the rostrum here, and Ben Hackerson, sorry, getting past Adam Hedgecock. Hedgecock getting passed by one Ben on the previous tour, now getting passed by Hackerson here, as Josh Rayfield has come into the pits. What about Michael Blake? Can he get past the booster with Savage Gaming car? Not at this moment in time is the answer, but it's Porsche. Looks like he's trying to get past a Pro-Am rival and move himself up into 2nd in the Pro-Am standings, and it looks like it might be about to be handed to him due to Hedgecock running wide through the corner with no name, and the inside line will be his into Pouon, and so too Jake Blackhall in the CQR Tarkov Porsche up into 10th place now.
Yep, nice driving once again from Blake, and yeah, Blackhall's making decent progress, up 4 positions so far, but when you compare that with Janssen's 9 positions, and you know, Blackhall's a very quick driver, so not quite sliding through the field as he'd hoped to do so. But yeah, very close battling out here, very close between Kraft and Janssen. So Janssen up onto the next pack of cars now. He's spent almost about pretty much half a lap not getting past any drivers, but he's looking to get past into 6th position currently. Right into the slipstream he goes. Gregory holding up these drivers a little bit. Gregory's usually pretty aggressive in his defence. Kraft is going to be under big pressure. Janssen's going to go past 1. He might even go past 2, just about getting stopped on the brakes. Kraft with decent speed round the outside. That big BMW, well, you don't want to make contact with him, certainly not, because you're certainly going to come off worse. Janssen just about coming across. Will Kraft go for the inside? No, he's decided to stay behind for now, and now Janssen will try to get past Gregory up the Camel Straight.
Great race this by Janssen, up to 6th place now. He's getting those moves done into the final corner and the first corner, into the bus stop at the end of the lap, and into La Source. 2 of the Kia are taking points on the circuit. He might even try and see if he can get past Ben Gregory here, going into Les Combes. Let's have a look. He's probably a bit too close. He's probably a bit too far behind, I should say, for now. But you're definitely close up in the slipstream. We can see that here from the helicopter shot. But no way through there. And Freitas and Scheel in the Team Mad and the CQR Sim Sports car are just out of shot. They are still embroiled in a scrap for 3rd. It has settled down a bit in terms of the fight for the lead. Chris Wood is a 1.1 second advantage over Simon Underhill as we go through Revagen towards No Name Corner. Paul Gosling dropping down the timing screen. He was off at Pouon earlier. He's off at Malmedy this time. He's at a spin, number 40. And he's got going again, down in 26th spot.
Gregory just running a little bit wide through the first part of Pouon. Was a good exit for Janssen coming out of No Name. Gonna have to go to the outside this time, really confident on the brakes, so he's going to try and carry the speed around the outside. Now gonna have his nose on the inside, but Gregory just about has enough of his car ahead, and this is costing Janssen. crucial tenths of a second. He's been able to maintain that gap to the lead at about 5 seconds. That, in fact, is down to about 4.25 seconds now between first and sixth positions. But Janssen, I'm sure, would like to get this move done as soon as possible. But that fry is superb down the straights. Janssen's going to have to go to the outside, now lifting off the throttle. He wants to make sure he gets this move done into the chicane, lifting off again through Blanchemont, getting the turbulent air course from the fry ahead. Gregory going defensive. Janssen again super confident on the brakes. Gregory will try to force him off, but Janssen's forced his way down the inside and now use all the space on the circuit. And Gregory's going to lose out now to Dan Kraft. Gregory, though, with that great straight line speed, going to be able to come back at the BMW driver. He's just a little bit boxed in currently. Gregory almost going back at Janssen down into turn 1, but yeah, once again he's going to lose that position side by side. He's going to blink first. Usually it's the driver on the inside who has the slightly better line up Eau Rouge, and Gregory recognises that and will try to get him down into Les Combes.
Up the Kemmel straight they go again. Ferrari top end speed will surely come handy here, and he's got the toe, of course, of Carl Janssen up in front. Kraft trying to maybe get some side draft there, potentially going under braking into the chicane. No one wants to give an inch here. It's going to be Kraft around the outside. Oh, Bosch, take that, he says, and he's through into 6th place. I think that's fair, just about fair. And now let's see what Ben Hackerson can do. He's now arrived to the party. Maybe gate crashed might be the appropriate word. It is the season for giving Easter eggs. But I don't think there's going to be anything here. Maybe some egg on the face of Ben Hackerson or Ben Gregory at the end of this battle. John Roberts and James Underhill have collided. And Dan Kraft right now is, or Ben Gregory I should say, is Dan Kraft, make it actually, Dan Kraft is probably walking on eggshells after the contact that he sustained with Ben Gregory. I'm running out of Easter jokes. It's probably a good thing that Easter season is probably over after today.
Yes, thank the Lord for that one. As Gregory under more pressure from Hackerson, just going down the order a little bit now, and very much just spreading out a little bit behind him. But that Ferrari is just so good downstairs. It's good to see 4 different manufacturers as well. Of course, we've got the BMW, Ferrari, Ford, and Porsche being represented in this battle, and they're all very evenly matched. It must be said. iRacing have done a fantastic job in balancing out these cars. I was a little bit sceptical of the BMW initially with how much speed it initially had, but they seem to have maximised it quite early on, and now you can see with the balance of the drivers out there at the front of the field, seems to have absolutely nailed it at the moment. iRacing has Janssen up onto the back of Freitas now. Well, now will he try to protect his teammate Andy Scheel? Of course, those two have been scuppering their chances at a podium all race long because they've been fighting so much. Janssen with so much confidence up Eau Rouge and Radion. He will have to go to the outside here, but the BMW's got no response whatsoever. This is going to be easy for the Swedish driver. Freitas usually pretty aggressive, but absolutely no response there. And Janssen up into 4th place, 3 seconds off the lead. He's got 8 minutes to catch.
See if he can. He's got just under half the race to do so. Not too many laps because it is one of the longest circuits of the season, as this fight for 6th continues to amaze here. We've got BMW's Dan Kraft, then we've got Ferrari Texense Fitstime Motorsport driver Ben Gregory, then we've got Hackerson in the Ford, and then we've got Jake Blackwell in the Porsche. So we've got many manufacturers represented in this forecast scrap, and then after that we've got just at the back of this, we've got Christian Rose, the title, Carl Janssen's title contender, who's probably going to have to concede defeat if he hasn't already done in the title fight after this very race, with just one to go after this one. A win on Dave Baker. He had a crash in race 1, of course, on the opening lap, and the car was crabbing, and he had to do a complete full lap of one of the longest circuits on the calendar to get it fixed. He did. Started at the back in race 2, and is now up to 15th place. 14 places gained for him, and if we get another 16 reverse grid, it would be him on the front row of the grid, which can show the power of the reverse grid in helping a driver's evening. And good job by Dave Baker. He is actually up in 15th place. He is 2.3 seconds away from Hedgecock. We'll wait and see if he can close that down in the second half of this one.
Yeah, he's certainly looking very good. Is Baker on that last lap? He was only 0.3 of a second off the pace of the leaders. So if we do get that big reverse grid, then he's certainly going to be one of the favourites. Here we are then to the front, and you can pretty much see the top 10 all on the same straight. Top 10 separated by 8 seconds. Chris Wood being caught again by Simon Underhill. Their fighting earlier on didn't help them too much. Lost them a little bit of time, which could prove crucial. Wood seemed to pull away by about 1.5 seconds as here comes Janssen. Somehow kept his foot in there, kept the momentum up the straight. And once again, that BMW clearly running, Ford running a little bit more downforce. So you can see how they're neutralising their speeds. But actually, Shield with, Shield backing out to that one quite early on. I tried to read the timing screen and the name on my screen. Carl Janssen up into 3rd position now, and he is 2 seconds off the lead. So he's got that gap down from 5.5 seconds to 2 seconds. Obviously, whilst passing about 5 cars in the process. And, well, the last 2 could be the most difficult 2 drivers to overtake. But this would be some comeback. And, of course, if he could win this one, you wouldn't bet against him. Maybe even achieving the triple. But I feel like that's quite far away.
Yeah, you have to find out what the reverse grid is going to be for race 3 first. That's coming up in a moment after this race. Looks like when we get to the line, we could probably go for laps to about 16 minutes. So we'll have, Shield lights it up on the exit there. We'll probably have about 2 laps to go when we get to the line. Oh, off goes Janssen in his pursuit of Simon Underhill in 2nd spot. Underhill, who very nearly got the lead in the early exchanges. Since then, he's lingered at about 8 to 1.3 seconds away. 8 tenths to 1.3 seconds away from Chris Wood at the front. Now he's got the championship leader and, well, champion-elect closing him down at the rate of a couple of tenths a sector, pretty much. So I have to wait and see what he's got here. Obviously, Chris Wood will be hoping that Underhill can keep Janssen at bay for as long as he can. Underhill will be hoping he can stay in 2nd place here, because this will be some useful points for his Pro-Am title fight. We haven't really talked about the Pro-Am drivers in this one. It's Underhill in 2nd, then we've got Blackhall in 11th. Sorry, not Blackhall, Blake in 11th. That's my fault for having the graphic down as just 3 letters. It's Blake. It's Blake in 11th.
Come on, you can do this.
It's Blake in 11th with Mike Gray behind him after that. Then it's David White, a trio of Pro-Am cars, and then we've got Dave Baker right in the middle of everybody else. It's Hedgecock, then Moo, then Woo. It's Moons and Woodhouse, and then it's Paul Smith, and then Lee Deemer after that with Lars Van Ryn and Lee Woodburn also in there too. So quite a lot of Pro-Am cars from 10th place on back, and Blake will be hoping that this doesn't take too many points away from him, because as things stand, the gap between Blake and Underhill in the points is 98 going into the 2nd race. We'll see if that changes when we go into race 3 with, I reckon, about 1.5 laps to go.
Should be, 2.5 laps to go, which will really help Janssen. Once again, these drivers seem to cross the line with about 30 seconds to spare, as we saw in race 1. And of course, the track a little bit slower as well due to the higher track temperatures, 44 degrees. So not easy for these drivers yet. I'd say we've seen less mistakes so far in this 2nd race compared to the 1st race, which was just action everywhere. This one has been a little bit more interesting in the fact that we've kind of just been waiting for this situation. The top 3 separated by 1.5 seconds. We've known it's been coming, but who's going to come out on top of these guys is going to be very interesting. Just over 2 laps to go in this race. Getting quite close between 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Those 5 drivers all closing in on one another a little bit. We've got quite a chain currently behind Kraft. The Kraft carriages, perhaps. I've used that pun already, unfortunately, in the Sim Racers World broadcast, but I'll use it again.
Yeah.
And he certainly got quite a chain behind him currently. With if anything, it looks like Blackhall's the most likely to make a move, but certainly this train is opposite order in terms of pace as we go back to the front, because it's ever so close.
On to what looks like the final lap of the race. It is 18:25 and it's about a 2-minute lap, so I reckon we should be
Yes,
getting
you're
the
right.
checkered flag when we get back round to the line, and that'll be music to Chris Wood's ears, because look at this. It's Ford versus Ford, it's Nomad versus Core, it's Underhill versus Janssen. Pro-Am title contender versus Pro Championship leader, and it looks like the Nomad Green car has got the inside line here, and look at that, he's pulling slightly ahead of Janssen, but it's all going to be about the braking going into Lake Com here, and he just about closes the door. First time that's happened to Carl Janssen in this one. Going through Malmedy, he does get a decent run, to be fair. This could be the move up the inside into Ravage that could have happened into Lake Com. Indeed it is. Carl Janssen has now got about 2/3 of a lap to try and close 7/10 of a second and get the lead off Chris Wood. What about a move into the bus stop chicane? I reckon that might be where it's going to come down to, Sam, on this one.
I think so. I think that's going to be his only opportunity, but that Ford isn't superb down the straight. So as long as Wood can keep a decent gap here and not let Janssen in the toe too much, he should be okay. In fact, that gap actually maintaining at 0.8 of a second since Janssen made that move. He needs to be within at least 0.3 of a second. You feel down into the bus stop. Now a couple of tenths quickly. He's edging closer. You can see how he's edging closer, but this isn't going to be a particularly good toe for him. Wood, not a fantastic exit, but it's okay. It's 0.6 of a second still between the first two drivers. Chris Wood on course for what I would believe
is
would
a
be
first
his
win.
first race win, yes.
Through Blanchimont, both drivers committed, but it's going to be too late. Unless he makes a mistake for the final corner, Chris Wood is going to win his first race of the season. With 2 races to spare, Chris Wood wins. Carl Janssen gains 14 places to finish in second and is the World GT Championship champion, Pro Champion for 2019. First season anyway. Andy Shield finishes in 4th, Miguel Freitas 5th. Michael Blake is going to come home to finish second in the Pro-Am title, second in the Pro-Am race I should say, with Underhill taking the Pro-Am honours here, but he should maintain his Pro-Am lead going into the final race of the season. Dave Baker, well done to him, 15 places, biggest mover to finish in 14th from the very back of the field, and everybody else pretty much has crossed the line in fact. Whereabouts are these guys? Matt Bunn going home to finish in 21st. He could be on the reverse grid pole if we get a 22. Sorry, he could be on the reverse grid front row if he gets 22, with Paul Gosling the recipient potentially of a reverse grid pole if we get a full, or a 22 anyway, with Underhill 23rd, Roberts 24th. Here comes Adam Hedgecock. Not too sure what happened to Adam actually. He was up there earlier. I think he's come into. He might have even entered the pits. Maybe not actually. Oh, he had a crash with Jason Rowe. That's what's happened. He's going to come through the final corner now and take 25th spot. It might even be worth having a quick look at what happened here. This is Hedgecock going very slowly, because something's already happened to Adam Hedgecock. Let's have a look at what this may have explained what happened. He's on his own here. Everything's fine. Turns in. Oh dear! Into the concrete wall. Well, Sam, what a race and what a win for Chris Wood. First win of the season for him. Best finish up to that point was second, and that was only once. And that second place came at Road Atlanta last week, so a bit of steady improvement really from Chris Wood. A second, a podium at Road Atlanta, and now he's got a win in the final race meeting of the season. Talking about coming good at the right moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Really has turned on the form recently, has Chris Wood. And that was a very well-driven race, actually. He got that gap on Simon Underhill. If they'd kept on fighting, no doubt Carl Janssen would have caught and passed them with a few laps to go. But he got that gap crucially, putting some very consistent times. And he'll be thanking Simon Underhill for just holding up Carl Janssen ever so slightly through Lake Com. I think without that, he would have been under big pressure, but just had those couple of tenths in hand. And also be thanking the clock, because another 10 seconds or so, and we would have had an extra lap, and I wouldn't have fancied his chances on lap 11. But yeah, great performance by him, and they could back it up with a strong result in race 3 as well.
Race results on the screen then. Chris Wood wins. Carl Janssen in second. Simon Underhill finishing in 3rd place. Top Am. Andy Shield finishing in 4th. Then Miguel Freitas. Dan Kraft there in 6th place again. 7th for Ben Gregory. Then Hackerson in 8th. Jake Blackhall 9th and Christian Rose in 10th. Those two bends, you can't separate them. Then it's Michael Blake, David White and White Gray, a trio of Pro-Ams there, finishing 2nd, 3rd and 4th in class. Then Dave Baker in 14th place. And we've got Mark Woodhouse, Model Moons, and Paul Smith, the Yorkshireman there in 17th. And then Lee Deemer, the Welshman, in 18th. Lars Anrune finishing in 19th and Lee Woodburn in 20th. Matt Bunn finishing in 21st place. Could be salvation for him in a moment with the reverse grid, along with Paul Gosling. If we get 22, it will be those two on the front row. James Underhill will be starting in P23 for the final race of the season, along with John Roberts behind him, then Adam Hedgecock, two Booster with Savage Gaming teammates there. Then Jason Rowe, Rusty Laidler in the CQR Tarkov car. Really cursed his evening, didn't I, after saying he's loving his return to form. And then Sharon Kaiser, Josh Rayfield and Tom Jacobs, of course Laidler and Jacobs both started in the higher echelons of this grid and ended up getting kicked out of the circuit pretty much by colliding with one another on the exit of Radion. That's Radion, actually. I'm surprised we haven't used that meme yet.
Don't.
In this one, it's
horrendous.
It really grew old pretty quickly, didn't it? And that is the results from the second race of the day, the penultimate race of the season. So let's get the reverse grid wheel up and move quickly as far away as we can from that's Radion. Actually, oh no, that's the adverts. Here's the wheel, and let's spin the reverse grid wheel and find out who's going to be on pole for the final race of the day in the World GT Championship. Here we go. It's going to be 18. So, Sam, who's that going to be on the pole?
Lee Deemer. Lars Van Rijn and Lee Woodburn just miss out. So it'll be Lee Deemer on the pole. Paul Smith, of course, Chris Wood's teammate, will be on the front row of the grid. And then it will be Mark Woodhouse and Ronald Meads on the second row. Dave Baker starting up in 5th place. He could certainly be maybe even the favourite for that race, seeing that there's plenty of AM drivers surrounding him at the front of the grid.
Should be good. Right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back for the final race of the season here in the World GT Championship. Well done to Kai Jansen, all the way on taking the title. Pretty much confirmed, but the Pro-Am fight, that's going to rumble on to the final race meeting of the season, to the final race of the season. And we'll see if Michael Blake can just about pip Simon Underhill to it. We've got that, and plus to round up the team standings as well when we come back from this break here on the iRacing Esports Network at Spa.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
And we're back for the final race of the season here in the World GT Championship. 30 races have come down to this, and after crowning our Pro Champion, confirming it in race 2, we're all set for the final race of the season, where it could all be decided where, and it will all be decided where the Pro-Am destiny will be heading to. It's Michael Blake ahead of Simon Underhill by 99 points. See if that can change. It will need an enormous swing for Michael Blake to not win it. But Sam, as we look at the grid, getting set for the final race of the season, anything could still happen. And with seven of the first 8 cars on the grid, all Pro-Am drivers, another opportunity for one of them to get a win to end the season on a high.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we saw Chris Wood taking his first race victory of the season in race 2. Carl Janssen, though, looks extremely strong. We've got Dave Baker as well in 5th position there. Could be very dangerous, just about how fast he can make his way up through the order after an awful race 1. Put him out of position for race 2. Could this finally be his opportunity to make amends? But of course, Carl Janssen cannot count out him, down in 17th position. And also, of course, we've got Christian Rose and Jake Blackwell starting in 9th and 10th. So potential winners all over the place. Should be a great race though.
As the sun begins to set on the season, could we see a new winner in the World GT Championship this season? Through the final corner we go. Lee Diemer really pacing it. Paul Smith is going to get absolutely jumped here. Green lights are on, and the final race of the season here at Spa in the World GT Championship is underway. Good start from Diemer. It's going to be his Sim-Auto teammate Moons that's up into second. What about third though? Paul Smith's going to get tagged. That was written all over his face in the entire field. Everybody scatters. That's Carl Janssen. He's the newly crowned champion has bounced up into the air and back down on all 4 wheels. Not too sure he's picked up any damage, and oh he has, definitely. Not too sure it's affecting the handling of the car, but nonetheless, it's Lee Diemer leading Ronald Moons up the Kemmel Straight, Sam.
Yeah, so a bit of a crazy start there. We had 3 wide for 2nd, 3rd and 4th positions, I believe, down into La Source. And whenever that happens, not going to end up well whatsoever. So big problems for Janssen earlier on. Diemer, yet still leading the way ahead of Moons. He's got a good start. Hackerson up 2 positions. Kraft up 2 positions. Shield up 5 positions so far. It's a good start for him, certainly. As Woodhouse just falling down the order a little bit. Hackerson trying to go round the outside cone. Good speed in that Ford. And, well, this really does open up an opportunity for a couple of other winners. Christian Rose up 5 positions, in fact, up into 4th place. And, well, how did Blake get through that first few corners as well? He's up into 6th place. So, good start for Michael Blake to consolidate that championship win.
This could be a real good opportunity for Sim-Auto to get some to get a 1-2. Plus they've got Michael Blake leading the Pro-Am category. Oh, look at this! Is this all anybody's game? It's Freitas versus Gregory, and the Ferrari is able to hold on as Shield and Kraft now go into battle. 10 years of CQR versus CQR Sim Sports.
All changed for the lead, so.
Oh yeah. Ronald Moons through. Diemer down to 2nd, and now they've got the CQR Race Hub cars to keep them company. We've got Dave Baker and Christian Rose. Rose may have lost the title, but he'll still want to go out the end and end the season on a high. As for Dave Baker, crash in race 1, a solid drive through the field in race 2 to get up to 14th place. Now he's at the front in race 3. He's trying to get past these two though to get into the lead, but this is only the first lap. We're going through the final corner now. Baker sets up Diemer, and Diemer was all crossed up on the exit of the bus stop chicane, and it could be the CQR Race Hub car that's into 2nd place by the time we get back up to Lake Com again as we complete the first lap.
Going to go the long way. Here's Baker. He's going to use all the space on the outside. It's like it doesn't usually work though, that line, and he's almost losing the position to his teammate. But he's possibly the perfect length back, because now he can get a really good run up the hill and kind of carry that momentum. He doesn't have to lift off, but in fact it's not an awesome launch. He'll get the slipstream. He's going to be under pressure from his teammate as well. Will they be on the same Discord, maybe chatting to one another, agreeing not to fight? Well, actually, I don't think they are talking to each other, because here comes Rose down the inside. No room on the inside whatsoever. Baker was not letting his teammate go whatsoever. There was just a car's width there, but Rose almost being shuffled onto circa. That's circa 2000, I think.
Here's what happened to Carl Janssen. This is at the end of this lap. Is he going to crash going into the pits? No, I think it's just because he has to slow down to get into the pit lane. It's come up as, look at that, registering as having crashed. So he's come back into the pits, got a new car, and he's on his way again. But back to the fight for second, as Ronald Moons disappears up the road at his home race. Let's not forget. Oh dear, what's happened here? Jake Blackhall, everybody's dropping down the order. Oh, that's John Roberts. The booster with a Savage Gaming car ends the season in a mess. Let's see what happened here. Was it? I think it might have been Jake Blackhall that started this all off, because him and John Roberts were nowhere near each other on the circuit. Here it is on a replay. Oh, loses it on entry. Gets a little tag around for good measure. Gets hit by a Ferrari, and one of the other booster cars gets flipped over. That probably is John Roberts, to be fair. And a whole load of mess in the midfield.
Yeah, Blackhall was a dark horse for this race. He was started in 10th position, and here comes Baker. They're now 2.5 seconds off Moon, so I think Deem is deliberately trying to hold up these drivers as much as he possibly can, help out his teammate. Baker's gone to the outside there. The inside was open for him, potentially almost contact amongst the two teammates, I believe, because Christian Rose right on the tail right now, and Rose, in fact, going off the circuit. Now going to have the inside, finally going to get past his teammates, seemingly, because once again, I think Baker's going to get boxed in a little bit behind Moons. Round the outside he goes. He's going to try to go this long way round once again, but it doesn't work for him. And finally, Christian Rose up into 3rd position. But all that squabbling amongst the teammates has not helped them too much. Also, side by side between Kraft and Shield, I think going into Eau Rouge. No, they've sorted each other out, but this is ever so close. He got Gregory as well. He's got superb straight line speed. What a fantastic queue of cars to round off this season of the World GT Championship.
The fastest lap of the race was set by the car in 10th at the end of that second lap, which kind of puts into context where the pace is being set. David White. Very, very... Oh! Collected there by Michael Blake, the Pro-Am leader. He just needs to finish and the Pro-Am title's his. But Shield is trying to get around the outside of Malmedy. What about Ben Gregory in the TechSense Fitztime Motorsport car? He's trying to get involved too. BMW v Porsche. Something we'll be seeing in the Formula E Championship next season. Very close through no-name corner. Now here comes the Ferrari. I wonder if they'll ever fancy a spin in the all-electric motorsport series. Blake gets on the curb and gets a bit out of shape, which allows Gregory through. A bit further up in this field, you've got Mark Woodhouse there in 6th. He's got one of the Immortal cars for company. And speaking of Immortal, Demo very nearly lost second place there. We saw Christian Rose and Baker having contact. I don't know whether Christian Rose is just in the mentality now of it's the end of the season, I'm not going to win the championship, so I may as well just go for it and have a bit of fun here in the final race, as most of the titles are settled. CQR Racer are the team's champions for this season, of course, so there's nothing to worry about in terms of getting the points for the team's championship. These guys are just going for pride. And with Moons and Dima currently in a 1-2 position for Simmortal and Simmortal Dragon Internet, they don't want to let these CQR Racer cars get crashed out at all.
Absolutely not. What a valiant effort this is, though, from Lee Dima to hold back these cars to protect his teammate, give Ronald Meads the slightest bit of an opportunity at the race win. Here comes Rose. Will he go for the move down into the source? It's rare in these GCE cars that you see a proper dive bump, because they're also competitive on the brakes. And the inside goes David White past Daniel Kraft and Mark Woodhouse as well. In fact, this train is actually being added to, I believe, because Miguel Freitas is even going to join the back of it as well. Almost side by side between Woodhouse and Shield. Shield just about pulling ahead. Dima and Rose down this straight. Not too much of a difference between those two. Side by side, 3 wide potentially, with Woodhouse losing out down into 9th position now. 5 positions now. But where it started, almost contact there. Gregory good on the brakes round the outside of the BMW. no doubt if they make contact, who's going to win out of those two. And in the end, they don't have to go through that method. And does pull ahead as Rose has got up into second position ahead of Lee Deemer. Dave Baker trying to follow through as well now.
There's so many battles, trying to cover it all. Watch out for the small time racing car of Woodhouse looking up the inside into No Name corner, and he very nearly does. The Shield now starts to get pressured by by Gregory. We'll have a look at what happened in terms of battle for second. Gregory gets caught out there. That's going to allow Michael Blake the opportunity. He's going to take the scenic route, going through Puon. Does get back on the circuit though, and now he's under pressure from the Team Mad car driven by Miguel Freitas, going into Piff Paff or the Fania chicane. Up the inside goes the Portuguese. That's going to open up the inside going into Stavilo here. Gives him plenty of room there. On the inside goes the Simmortal car. This is Michael Blake on the inside, trying to get by. Watch out for Lee Deemer. He wants that second place back. Oh no, he's about to lose third place, I should say. As we go into Blanchimont. Oh my goodness.
Oh dear. That's
And
a big one.
yeah, off into the wall. Oh, he's going to reverse back across the track. J-turn. Oh my word. They're all going to miss him. Many trousers have been changed. And that's just not in the... Oh, goodness me. There goes one going by. Oh, this is uncomfortable. And through he goes. That through goes everybody. Deemer doesn't probably can open his eyes now, because that was not pleasant in the slightest, and he's had to go back to the pits after all that. So the 1-2 scuppered Sam, but Ronald Moon still continues to lead, and he's got a 3-second buffer that might just help him for the next couple of laps, keep Christian Rose at bay. But yeah, that was a bit of contact between Rose and Deemer going into Blanchimont.
Yeah, I think it was a Nomad car just making a little bit of contact as well. 3 seconds between the top two. Quarter of a second fast on that last lap for Christian Reyes. It's going to be very close at the checker flag. Here comes Kraft. Great straight line speed for Kraft. He's going to go straight round the outside of Dave Baker. Great move from the BMW. And now almost spinning back into the traffic there as White will try to go round the outside. He's quietly gone about his business up through the field. Here comes Shield now due to our teammates. Contacts almost with Gregory as well. Now White from gaining a position. He's going to lose 2 positions, I think. No, just staying ahead of Gregory. But impossible to call, and even Mark Woodhouse still keeping up with these guys impressively. White trying to cover off Gregory as much as possible, but he's keeping his nose down the inside, flashing his lights, and how there wasn't contact between the two of them, I do not know. Still, Gregory will go for the movement. Now there is contact. I think that may have even been a little bit of netcode, to be fair, but it was always going to happen eventually. Blake really getting held up. Is there going to be more contact? Yes, there is. And, well, they managed to somehow avoid it for a few corners, and in the end it turned out a whole lot worse than it originally would have been.
Oh, and it's collected a few others as well. That's Michael Blake, the Pro-Am leader, that's gone off. Fortunately for him, Underhill is in 8th, and as long as he can keep going, he should be able to still take the Pro-Am title as he bounces and boings across the grass. What this does mean is that Chris Wood and Mark Woodhouse are 11th and 12th in terms of the smile time fight. And Simon Underhill is now trying to get past Miguel Freitas here. This is a fight for 7th and 8th, and this is a fight for 2nd. Well, at least this is Underhill trying to get involved in maintaining his 2nd spot in the Pro-Am positions, because Laidler isn't too far behind actually. Good race by Laidler actually, biggest mover in the field. He's gained 17 spots since the start of the race, and he's that BMW there, the 3rd car in shot, as we come into La Source again to start lap 6 into the second half of the race. 11.5 minutes have been elapsed, 9.5 minutes to go. The fastest lap of the race by Carl Janssen. He's got a new car, he's been into the pits, got a new Ford GT, and he is in 18th place now with lapping 4 seconds a lap quicker than the cars in front of him. So if anybody wanted to know where the pace was, it's definitely with Carl Janssen, the champion, as here comes Dave Baker and Dan Kraft at it again.
Yep, Kraft went round the outside on the last lap. Baker trying to give him some of his own medicine, but not going to work that time, and now under pressure from Shield. The TC Kia drivers going to try to help each other out. Shield round the outside, but cannot make that one as it stands. Gap between the top two, 1.5 seconds. And that last lap, Rose was about 0.8 of a second faster. So he is edging close. Also, Kraft very quick on that last lap, but with all this fighting, isn't really going to help their chances of catching up to the top two, despite the fact that they are just about in sight up the road.
Of course, catching is one thing, passing is very much another, as Christian Rose eats into the gap of that Ronald Moons has built since the start of the race. Michael Blake has crashed again, you know, but it says he's entered the pit lane, so I'm guessing he is he's come into the pits, and it's saying that he's crashed is basically him getting down to the pit lane speed limiter. This is the scrap then for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Christian Rose, as you can see from the timing tower, has got the gap down to 1.1 seconds in the final race of the season in the World GT Championship season, and the details for next season are TBC, but of course we're hoping that they'll be back on the iRacing Esports Network for another season. So the best racing you'll see on iRacing here is good run by Baker there on the exit of the final corner out of the bus stop chicane. Personal best from Christian Rose in his pursuit of Ronald Moons at the front of this field. Can Baker get by into La Source? No, he's fancying his chances for the end of the Kemmel, it looks like, as we go out of La Source, plunge down the hill. This is where the two Force Indias collided in 2017. Documented in the F1 in the Netflix documentary quite well, that. Still haven't completed that series actually. Over the top of the hill, and this could be Baker's opportunity now. Kraft covering the inside, and all of a sudden Dan Kraft has got Andy Shields got a nice little bit of slipstream. Could Baker be about to be hung out to dry? In fact, he's going to stream almost straight by going into Lake Sam. It looks like he's got it done, and that is to perfection now. He decided to wait against going past into La Source, and he decided to get by into Lake at the end of the straight, and he's duly done so.
Yep, nice move there from Dave Baker back up into the top two, but he feels like this battle is not over by any means. Griffey also keeping relatively on tabs. He's only about a second behind these guys, but I think once they stop fighting one another, they should start pulling away a little bit, but that throw is keeping in check a little bit. Back at the front, Racers gradually got that gap down. I say gradually got that gap down. Rapidly reduced the gap, 1.2 seconds faster that last circuit. And look at this, only 0.2 of a second between the two of them. Earlier on, we saw fantastic defense by Ronald Moon's teammate. That was...
Dima, wasn't it?
Dima, apologies, yes it was. He defended so well to give Ronald Moons the lead that he previously had. Will Moons be able to repeat that feat? And of course, Christian Rose usually obey measured drive. That's why he's done so well this season, up there in second in the championship. So he's not going to make any rash moves, I'm sure. Will Moons have to go defensive, going into the bus stop, just putting his car down the middle of the circuit. With that little kink, you can kind of just hold your car in the middle of the circuit for a little bit longer before taking the normal racing line. Here comes Rose. Great exit. But he's going to have to go to the outside into La Source. We've seen, actually, you kind of want to be behind going into Eau Rouge if you're going to get the move down into the Kemmel Straight. But round the outside goes Rose. And that's a fantastic move. A little bit too cautious for Moons and Christian Rose. Well, he's not going to win the championship today, but he may well win race 3.
Great move around the outside. Just a braking to perfection almost. And he's into the lead now. Ronald Moons down to second. Then it's Dave Baker third. And Dan Kraft are at it again, and him and Dan Kraft are at it again. Two drivers from the BSRTC that know each other well. It's Dave versus Dan here, and it's going to be the BMW that could get by into Lacombe here. Andy Shields keeping a watching brief in 5th place. It's going to be Kraft that gets through up into 3rd. This is a fight over the final spot on the podium. Look at the run that Baker gets through the second part of Lacombe. Looks at the inside into Malmedy, and now he's really on the back foot, going into Rivage, because here comes Andy Shield as a result. BMW. Not too many times where you see a driver get done around the outside of that hairpin, and he has to use all the track and then some to stay ahead. Here comes, that's not him, it's Ben Gregory that's about to arrive on the scene here, but as we look back at that, you can see it's pretty close between Simon Underhill, who's second in the Pro-Ams at the moment. Then it's Miguel Freitas, and then it's Rusty Laidler, who is really coming on strong here in the closing stages of this one. When we get to the line, we are probably going to have... Oh, it's going to be close whether we get 2 more laps in or not. I think we might just have 1. We'll wait and see as this fight for 7th, 8th and 9th continues.
Another issue for Carl Janssen out there. He's down into 20th position once again. Had a very poor lap time that time, and he was 9 seconds off. So judging by the fact that he hasn't got too much damage, may have just been a bit of a spin for him. This should be how it happens. So down into Little Source, going down the inside, and oh, whoa. Just a self-spin, just misjudging ever so slightly. And, well, a bit disappointing for him to, you know, be outside the top 15 on the last race of the season, considering that he's been faultless, particularly this second half of the championship. Underhill going defensive. That's a very tight line into the chicane, sorry, and somehow gets it stopped. This is the battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. So that's the Laidler, who's going to accumulate quite a few points, I think, today. Decent race 1. Not a great race 2, but up 17 positions in this race 3. And he's right on the tail currently. He also got Kraft, Baker, and Shields still very close up ahead. And Gregory, sorry. But Underhill could well be a sitting duck by the end of this next straight.
Look at this. 4-car scrap for third on what could potentially be the last lap of the season. Baker was passed on this spot of the circuit a lap ago. He's at it again, sense of deja vu here, and he forces Kraft a bit wide, and that's going to allow Andy Shield into the fray here. These drivers all race for CQR, but they're all different parts of the team. CQR Sim Sports on 10 years of CQR here. Forcing his way through, and contacts, drifts sideways on the brakes. And Kraft is able to continue, but he's down to 6th. Ben Gregory is a man on a mission. Purple sector 1 on this lap. And Laidler's dropping down the order. Oh no! Laidler, who gained so many places, 17 to be precise, is now sideways and off at the Rivage hairpin. He's still in 14th place, which is still 12 places higher than where he started, but it could have been so much higher as we're in the closing stages of this race now. And with 35 seconds to go, Sam, I reckon this might just be the final lap as Christian Rose goes into Stavelo now.
Yes. I'm not sure. It's gonna... yeah, this should be the last time, I think. So, great performance from Christian Reyes. And like I said earlier on, not going to win the championship. But next season, he's undoubtedly going to go in as one of the favourites. Of course, such a consistent driver. Gaining experience from the BSR leagues over the years. And going to end this season on a high. And on a high for CQR Race Hub as well.
Into the final corner then. May have lost out on the title. But he's going to get a win here in the final race of the day, in the final race of the season. Christian Rose wins it here at Spa. Second for Ronald Moons. I don't think he's going to win the Pro-Am Championship, but he can hold his head high after this race meeting. And Dave Baker completes the podium. Michael Blake then, we haven't really given him his moment. And he is all the way down in 21st place, so plenty to cover then. Rusty Laidler, oh! Drama right at the very end there as he collides with Josh Rayfield. And gets demoted down to 16th place. Laidler's going to finish 14th in the end. And here comes Michael Blake. I think Rayfield may even have crossed the line and not served a slowdown penalty. He might get punished a lap. But here comes Michael Blake. He was 99 points ahead going into this final race of the season. And he may have lost a few points because of where he's going to finish. But it's not going to be enough to stop him from winning the Pro-Am title here in the World's GT Championship. He comes across the line, flashes the lights in delight. He finishes 21st. In terms of the YAM Championship, in terms of the YAM race, he finishes in 13th. But that will all pale into insignificance as he is crowned the World GT Pro-Am Champion. And everybody is just about finished now. Sam, I think the only driver we're waiting for is Adam Hedgecock to end the season. Through the final corner he comes, and he's going to finish in P24 as the season is rounded out.
Yeah, and a great season of the World GT Championship. Of course, the first season of the World GT Championship with these GTE cars. Previous to this, it was the GT3s, and it has worked absolutely superbly. I think the quality of driving this season has really increased, and the fact that we've still got some 30 drivers on the grid for the last race really does show how much the drivers do enjoy this championship. And of course, if you do feel like joining the championship, keep an eye on the World GT Facebook page. I think there's I think there's Facebook group, Facebook page as well, I believe, and also their website as well. WGT.UK, I believe it is. But you will have to be very quick because I believe the entries are pretty much filled up within about 10 minutes of the entries opening. So you'd have to be very quick to sign up, but we do thoroughly recommend it because, as you've seen this evening, it is one of the best championships, I'm sure, that are shown on the iRacing Esports Network.
You're looking at your team's champions, and they're going to go around for another lap here. Wonder if we could be expecting some donuts here. CQR Race Hub, the team's champions for 2019. Also coming around to the grid there is one of the Immortal cars. And let the spinning begin. That's not an awful, that's an awful shot. Here we go. Christian Rose is loving it. Race winner. Here comes Carl Janssen, the pro champion. That's Michael Blake. Is he here somewhere? No. Yeah. Oh, he's doing donuts down at Puon. They're all doing it everywhere on the circuits. Everyone burning it down at the end of the season. Trying to work out who that other Immortal car is. There is Michael Blake. It's I think it's Ronald Moons. Second place at his home race. There's a headline. Car 69, they're going to carry on spinning until the engine blows.
Or run out of fuel.
Or run out. One of the two. Sure, I used to do this on R-Factor 1 all the time.
Of course, they probably did one less up than they expected, seeing how close it was on the clock. So they have got a bit of fuel and tires to burn, I'm sure, which will be very good for them. But yeah, absolutely superb scenes, and yeah, rounds off the championship in a very fitting way.
Here we go then, final results of the season. Christian Rose wins, Ronald Moons finishing in second, the Belgian at his home race. Dave Baker in third with Andy Shield in fourth. Ben Gregory finishing in fifth place, a man on the mission in that final race there. Then it's Dan Kraft second, Miguel Freitas in seventh place. Then Simon Underhill in eighth, Mark Woodhouse ninth, and Chris Wood rounding out the top 10. Look at that trio of Small Time Racing drivers there, with Paul Smith finishing in 11th, a commendable result there. Credit to, or much kudos to Paul Gosling and Jason Rowe, both really having very good races there in the final race of the season. Gosling finishing 12th, Rowe finishing 13th. Rowe gaining 12 spots to finish in that place. Rusty Laidler could have gained a whole lot more if it wasn't for a bit of contacts on the final lap of the race, twice, finishing in 14th place there. Then Lars Van Ryn in 15th, Tom Jacobs in 16th for Team Lizard. Good comeback because he was pretty much in another country at the end of race 2. 17th for David White, and Carl Janssen, the champion, finishing in 18th place after a pit stop, a spin, and getting thrown into the air a couple of times. Sharon Kaiser finishing in 19th, Michael Blake, the Pro-Am champion, finishing in 20th place. Then John Roberts 21st, 22nd for Lee Woodburn. Then Josh Rayfield 23rd. Then we've got Adam Hedgecock there in 24th. Jake Blackhall, the Aussie, in P25. And in the cars that didn't finish the race, Lee Deemer, the Welshman, crashing at Blanchimont early on. Then James Underhill, Ben Hackerson there, 8 laps down, and Mike Gray, the XVR Silver car, barely getting going here in the final race of the season. Right then, it is interview time. We've even got Josh Thompson in there, even though he wasn't here today. Probably getting some practice in away from the World GT Championship, but there is only one place where we can start, and that is with our champion. So let's drag him up and get a quick word with Carl Janssen, doing an epic job with the donuts, must admit. Season for Easter eggs, leaving a few O's there on the circuit. And he joins us now in the commentary box. Carl Janssen, well done, a World GT title. How does that feel?
Great. It's been a pleasure to drive this whole season, really. Been a great pleasure fighting all the guys. Been very good, and coming out on top is very nice.
Race 1 and Race 2 must have been the highlights for you today. In particular, Race 2, where you're having to fight your way through the field. That must have been pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, it was really fun. I was trying to go for the win.
Maybe another lap?
Yeah, the last lap was... There was so much fighting, and I just lost a little bit too much time with Simon there, but it was very enjoyable.
Just looking at some of the race meetings you've done this season, just trying to work out which one stood out. Yeah, one that does look pretty good was last week at Road Atlanta, 2 wins in Race 1 and Race 3, and of course the Enduros as well at Le Mans and at Daytona. those have gone pretty well for you as well this season.
Yeah, Road Atlanta, I was waiting for like the whole season pretty much. It's like one of my favorite tracks, and also the Ford is very very good there. So that was pretty much just made for be a good result, I guess. The Enduros, they have been a little bit of a surprise, to be honest, because at Le Mans I didn't expect the Ford to be the quickest car. I thought the Porsche or the Ferrari would be quicker, but turned out that the Ford was probably the quickest car there. And then Daytona was some kind of the same. I wasn't expecting it to go that well, but in the end it went very well.
Well, on your championship rival this season as well, Christian Rose did a good job of pushing you all the way to pretty much the final race of the season.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure fighting Christian. He's always up there. He's always there taking the points. So you need to be at your best to really beat him. He's really good.
And next season, Sam here was saying about how the sign-ups have pretty much all gone for next season. Are you going to be back in the car to go at it again in a few months' time?
We will see what happens with the Pro Series and all that. Since that is a big thing. Right now we need to score really good points for the rest of the season. So probably gonna have to put in a lot of effort there. But I'm hoping I can be back. Really enjoy these Monday races. They are just very fun.
Okay, well, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone at PORSCHE Racing, Christian and David for the championship rival. Also Sindre for that. It was very good. And then you guys for broadcasting.
Great. Well, well done on the win today in race 1, and well done on the title, and well done on all the drives you've done this season. And thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Kai Jansen there. Sam, you've got the pick of who we should go on to next. I'd vouch for Michael Blake, the Pro-Am champion.
Well, sure. Okay, let's go for Michael. Of course, the champion, and Michael, you must be ever so pleased with that one. Congratulations. It's been a long season, and it hasn't been easy whatsoever. But you must be so relieved that you've now got that title secured.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. That was really good fun. It was really hard. Thanks to Simon for a great season-long battle. Just want to have a shout out to Ron and the other guys at Simortal. This was our last event as a team tonight.
Oh.
Thank them for all their help. The team's sort of going on a bit of a holiday for a little while. Whether or not it comes back in the future, I don't know. But just want to thank them for all their help, and Drive Doctors, Dragon Internet, all our sponsors, and Martin Christensen for all the driver coaching.
Well, it was quite a fitting way for the team to go out with you winning the championship, and of course a 1-2 at one point in race 3 as well. But just looking back at the championship, is there anything that you would say that kind of defined your championship? That was the reason why you were able to just about pip Simon to the championship?
I think it was Suzuka. There was an incident in race 1 in Suzuka that sort of 3 cars went off towards the end, and it just got me in to the reverse grid pole. And then from there, race 2, I managed to hang on to a top 10. In race 3, I managed to hang on to a top 3. That was the race, if you know what I mean. If that incident hadn't happened in front of me, I'd never have got the reverse grid pole, so I never would have been in the top 10 for the race 2, and then same for race 3.
Yeah, it really does. Quite incredible how the championship can kind of turn on one point like that. And today again, kind of typical performance from you. Just grinding out those results. Race 1 in particular wasn't the best qualifying in the world, but you kind of found your way up into the top 10 pretty early on. Race 2 as well, a decent top 10 result, and then of course race 3 a little bit disappointing with the incident, but at least race 1, race 2 must have been quite pleased with.
Yeah, I sort of all but wrapped it up after race 2. So race 3, I was not being as cautious as I normally would. So I was going for more things, and that's what can happen sometimes. You get in situations. Two guys ahead of me came together, and I tried to sneak around the outside, and it just clipped me, and had to pit for repair.
Of course, next season, I guess you're not going to be an AM driver, so you're going to be a pro driver. And what were your aims going to be? Have you got a particular place in the championship that you're aiming for, or maybe winning a race? What were your aims?
Just try and stay in the top 15 overall. I don't have the pace. I'm a good second a lap off of some of the top AM drivers. But hopefully with consistency. I was pro a couple of seasons ago, and I did all right then. Just play to my strengths and just try and pick up consistent finishes.
Absolutely, we certainly look forward to seeing you next season. And before we let you go, Michael, anyone you'd like to thank?
As I said, all the guys that have helped me out with Some Mortal, and that's got that off the ground, and the fun we've had doing it. You guys for the broadcast every week, and all the people involved in organising this championship. It really is the best privately hosted championship on our.
Have we got some cake coming?
Oh, I don't know. Did you have? You'll have to ask Karina.
Oh. We've got Easter eggs up here, but I'm sure some cake wouldn't go amiss. But yeah, that was what I was just going to throw in there quickly.
Oh well, PM me your address. I'm sure she'll send you something.
Oh wow. Okay. Brilliant.
Well,
yeah.
Fantastic end to the championship for us, certainly now. Looking forward to that one. Thanks, Michael. Congratulations on the title victory, and we'll see you soon on Apex Racing TV.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
Cheers, Mike. Well, Michael Blake there, Pro-Am champion. Right, who shall we go on to next? I think we probably could do getting a representative in from CQR Race Hub. Pretty much because it has been first of all their team's championship, and also he finished second in the drivers' championship. So we've got him in here now for a quick word. Christian, obviously commiserations on the pro title, but a good evening for CQR Race Hub with you wrapping up the team's title. I think it was pretty much wrapped up before this one anyway, and a race victory for yourself in the final race.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it's only my second race win of the season. I could arguably done a few more of them over the course of the 30 races, but no, really pleased that I managed to at least take the Drivers' Championship to the last round anyway. I take my hats off to Carl. He's just so consistently fast. It's quite disheartening. But no, he's done a fantastic job all season, as he always does. He's in the World Championship for a reason. So yeah, to take it to the final round and to win a race, I would have liked to have been close to him in race one, but yeah, no, I can't really complain too much about 3 top 10 finishes tonight.
A good fight through the field in race 3. Was that enjoyable and easy to get a good battle between yourself and Ronald Moons towards the end to get the win?
Yeah, I mean, I was quite lucky starting from P10, I believe, to avoid some of the chaos at turn 1, which moved me up to 4th place. And yeah, Dave was struggling to get past Lee, so we sort of said, "Oh, can I have a go?" I managed to dispatch of him in a few laps, and then it was just about trying to chase down Ronald. I don't think he's had a win. And I sort of wanted to spoil that because I was selfish and wanted another win for myself. So yeah, it was good fun trying to hunt him down, and yeah, it was really, really clean racing with him. So yeah, fantastic.
Any particular highlight from the season for you? Just looking back at the results for you over the course of the season, obviously got the win at Suzuka, the win here tonight. Those particular race meetings, the ones that stand out for you over the course of the year?
Yeah, I mean, Suzuka was good. I really enjoyed the first round of Watkins Glen. Because yeah, with 2 podiums, I thought I can kick on and have a really good season and take it to the likes of Carl and Josh for the first part of Sindre. So I struggled a bit in GT3s, whereas in the GTE cars I feel a bit more at home. So just really pleased to. I was really pleased to kick the season off on a high, and yeah, managed to carry on from there on.
Next season, you're going to be back to maybe go one better.
That's always the aim. I always go into the championship with the ambition to win it. Second place is a good result. Don't get me wrong, but I like winning, and I want to win next season. As one of the admins, we have been working very hard behind the scenes, working on new ideas, ready to announce in the coming weeks or months regarding next season. So yeah, just want everyone to keep an eye out, really.
Sounds all very exciting. Before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Yep. Firstly to yourselves for the fantastic broadcast all season, and also the iRacing Esports Network for allowing us to use their platform, to reach out to many new people. Everyone involved in the running of the series: Matt Byrne, Andy Shield, Dave Baker, Dave White, your own, and anyone else that I may have forgotten on that list, and everyone at CQR and Simortal for the sponsorship of the series.
Great. Well, well done tonight on the win, and well done to everything you've done all season. And yeah, hopefully we'll see. Well, we'll find out what stuff you've got in the pipeline for the future.
Yeah. I know that Andy Shield wants to have a little word on behalf of the admin team.
Cool.
At some point.
We will get on to him in a. Well, might even get on to him next, actually. So yeah, thanks for the heads up for that one, Christian. And yeah, we'll see you in a bit.
Lovely, thank you.
Right then, the list of drivers is almost daunting that we've got here in the interview room. But we will go on to Andy Shield next and drag him up and find out how what his thoughts of the season have been from an admin perspective. Andy, welcome. We'll move on to your driving in a bit. But first of all, as representative of the admins, I believe, for the World GT Championship, your assumption or your opinions on how this season has been. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're really pleased with how the season's turned out, and the fact that a lot of it's come down to the wire. Which, when we decided to go with a slightly different reverse grid strategy, we hoped that it would mix things up and ensure that the field was kept close throughout the season without anyone kind of running away with it, so to speak. So we're really pleased that all in all, everyone was kind of kept pretty bunched up, and to the main, albeit obviously congrats to Carl for winning the overall drivers championship. It's been very, very close, and the driving, we feel after the first couple of rounds where people were just finding their feet in the GT cars has been in the main very good. Of course there's going to be instance here and there, but when we're running grids upwards of 50 cars some weeks, unfortunately there is going to be incidents, and that's just part and parcel with racing. But we're really pleased. We put a lot of time and effort in behind the scenes to try and put on a good league for everyone to partake and participate in, and we look forward to announcing in the coming weeks what we're looking to do in season 6. But no, thanks guys for your commentary this season. It's been great. Thanks to our sponsors as well throughout the season. It's just nice to have you guys on board and calling the play, as it were.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it. I'm glad that the season's all gone pretty well. In terms of the switch from obviously GT3s over to GTEs as well, was that a pretty easy decision to make? And was there much in the way of any opposition from the drivers, especially with, of course, midway through the season, the BMW getting announced?
Yeah, when we first set up the WGTC, we actually had the GTE cars with the Ford and the Ferrari, and that was very much an exploratory season. And we switched to GT3, being the prominent series, which we then ran for season 2, season 3, season 4, and it was at that point we received feedback. So what we do at the end of each season is we reach out to all the guys in the league, say tell us what you'd like to see, the sort of changes that you may or may not want to happen, and if we can facilitate it, we do try and listen and evolve the series to keep it interesting and to show that we genuinely do care what the guys think. And at the end of the day, we put this on to try and make it an enjoyable series. And without their support, all the drivers who run on the grid, we wouldn't be running this series as we are today. In terms of the car choice, I think it was just time to swap over. I think the racing has been very, very good. I think the balance of performance in the cars is very, very good. I think the GT3s, for me, probably a little bit broken at the moment. Mercedes is still very, very quick. So, because we've got 4 cars now with the BMW being added, we've got quite a nice mix, albeit still, very small numbers in the Ford, but, it's a very particular car. And it doesn't cater to all taste, whereas the other cars are a bit more vanilla. You can jump in and be half decent. So we'll look to keep the GTEs for next season, as we announce obviously further details in the coming weeks.
Moving away and looking at how you got on today, I think that you and your fellow BMWs were pretty much inseparable at one point during the race. I think was it you and Miguel Freitas were at it pretty much non-stop?
Yeah, we we were just nipping and tucking for all 3 races. When we were gridding up, I was like, I always have a look around who's in my immediate vicinity, and I think I could pretty much lean out the window and knock on Miguel's window. We were that close at times throughout the race, but the racing was fun. It was fair. I only was made aware of a couple of incidents. But in the main, it looked like the racing was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's always a good battle, and there's obviously a few CQR guys. We genuinely don't hold back from each other. If we're running in the immediate teams, your own teams, then we may be a little bit more accommodating. But we agreed at the start of the season that you're fair game. So don't expect any kind of extra courtesy, because we're ultimately racing, irrespective that we're all part of the team. We don't end up causing any accidents with each other, but at the same token, if there's a gap or an opportunity where you're going to send it down there and go for the move. Otherwise, what's the point? We're not playing follow the leader. Although we did do that a bit following Carl at times, but we're going to race. We all enjoy our racing. We race with each other. We race hard with each other. And as long as you give each other room and use a bit of common sense, then 9 times out of 10 it's absolutely fine.
Great. And next season, we got anything exciting in the pipeline?
We're looking to make a couple of tweaks. Nothing crazy. We adopt a mentality: if it's not broke, let's not fix it. We had a great grid. We've lost a few numbers over the past weeks just due to personal circumstances. So we're going to make a couple of tweaks, but nothing substantial. In terms of the format of the races, pretty similar. We like the fact it's a little bit unique to the GT racing. There are a lot of series out there where they're kind of hour-long races or longer. The sprint races, I think, it's just full-on intense racing for 20 minutes on the sprint nights. It is, it's absolutely mental at times when you're in a pack of cars. It's just crazy, but it's great fun at the same time. So we really enjoy that. The feedback we get, people enjoy it. So I think we'll kind of stick to our roots and look to kind of build on that going forwards and see where we are for season 6. But those details should be coming out in the coming weeks, and we'll look to kind of kick something back off again, kind of summertime, give people a bit of a break, just to kind of have some Mondays back in their diary. But kind of June, July time, you'll see the season start to kick back up again.
Great. Before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout? Well, probably have done it already, but we can do it again. A quick shout out to anyone.
Obviously, you guys for calling the shots. Great job as always. Really appreciate your honesty and your points of view when you're watching it back. Our sponsors, the drivers who make it what it is today, and the rest of the admin team. So Dave Baker, Matt Bunn, Christian Rose, Dave White, Simon Underhill has been great with the helping with the stewarding. Media team got Traz Jaycott, Ben Gregory, Tom Jacobs, so all the guys that have helped pull some of this together behind the scenes. But yeah, just no thanks to everyone who's watched the series and obviously participated, and I guess watched this space.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us and filling us in on what's been going on behind the scenes in the championship. And yeah, hopefully we'll speak to you again next season.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Sam. I know I try and duck out of the commentary booth from time to time, but no, thanks for having us, and yeah, catch you guys soon.
Andy Shield there. Let's move on to Paul Smith. I believe he's got something important to say, probably. Joins us now in the interview room. Paul, welcome.
Hello there.
How's things been with you then? We obviously we'll get onto this evening first of all for divulging into the championship and that. But yeah, things started starts off okay. Then they went a bit south towards the end of race 1, and race 3 it ended all pretty well again.
Yeah, race 1, I think it was a little bit of a mistake from me down at Puar, lost the back end, and I think it was the same time Dion Phillips did as well. So it just looked like there was oil on the track where it was about 3 or 4 of us all going up at the same point. So yeah, that didn't go too well. Second race, it was a bit of a try and do as well as we could for the team. The whole of tonight was all about the team, really. If I'm honest, I wasn't too worried about trying to get personal scores. It was all about just getting the best I can. And that final race, starting on the front row, an awful start from me, because I had to back off to let Lee get back alongside me because I was getting warned about being ahead of the leader, which I didn't want to get a penalty. So I got an awful start, and then going into turn 1, it was just 3 wide. I was on the outside and a little bit of contact. I'm facing the wrong way, and I had to do a recovery drive. And wow, what a recovery drive that was! I don't know where that pace had come from all night.
Brilliant. And in terms of the championship, just looking at how things have played out, how would you rate how the season's been for you?
Personally, I would have liked to have done better in the Pro-Am Championship individually. But I have to say, hats off to Chris tonight, pulling out the win in race 2.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant drive from him. Absolutely mega. Chris and Mark have been absolutely fantastic throughout the whole season, to be fair, for the team. And that's why we've ended up winning the Pro-Am Championship. And it's a bit of a difficult one for us because our team boss, Dave Crozier, has had some, shall we say, not the best news over the weekend. So we were all doing this for Dave. So that championship win is all for Dave Crozier, and thoughts with him and his family after what's been happening this weekend.
Really is, and yeah, great testament there, and great season, obviously for small town racing as well. I think at one point in this race meeting, I think you finished 1, 2, 3 at one point during the evening. And looking back at the season as a whole for you, obviously things have gone pretty well. Best finish of 10th at one point. At least that's what the stats say. But so if you could pick out one race meeting which you'd say you've enjoyed the most, which one would it be?
That's really difficult. It's been a lot of good meetings this season. It didn't start off particularly well for myself with the first few rounds. Until Argos comes to mind as getting wrecked out in a turn 1 of a couple of the races. But do you know what? For what we did tonight and how we worked together as a team, not just us, by the way, but Jason, Miguel, and Jeroen as well. We all banded together and did what's best for the team, because we are all Team Mad. It's just another name for Team Mad is my team. And the way that we all worked together and we had that banter as well. Jason was determined to finish ahead of me in the standings, which he did do. So hats off to him. But yeah, tonight has just been absolutely awesome. Great effort from everyone, and really, really well done to Chris for getting that win in race 2 as well.
Great. Well, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Well, obviously Dave Crozier, thoughts with you. Also, quick mentions to Fanatec, Overclockers UK. We have got affiliate links to them, so make sure you check out our social media for those. Also, Calder Rescue, Phoenix Racing, Small Time Productions, Simmortal, because he shouted at me last time I did an interview and didn't mention them. And I'm trying to think of anybody else, and I can't think of them, so I'll leave it at that.
Great. Well, brilliant as always to get you in on the broadcast, Paul, and well done on the season, and hopefully there's more to come next season. Did we touch on that? What are your plans for next season?
I I don't know yet. We'll just finish this one. What we'll
Do a Monday off.
savor,
Yeah.
We'll savor this. I've got tomorrow off, so from work, so I'll probably celebrate it tonight. But next season, we'll have to see what the format's going to be, if there's going to be any changes, and then properly assess the cars, see which suits each of us best.
Great. Well, yeah, thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us, Paul, and yeah, we'll hopefully speak to you in a couple of weeks.
Take it easy. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the broadcast as well.
No worries. See you, Paul. Right then, to end the season, because I think we'll go off air at 11. Who should we pick? Who should we drag up for the final word of the season, Sam?
Oh, wow, this is pressure. Also, I don't know if you got the message. Apparently, we have to pick a driver of the season.
Driver of the season. Oh, well, while we
we'll
stew
think
over
about
that,
it whilst we interview someone.
yeah,
We need all the time we can get. I think we need another week, to be honest, to decide.
I think there's one standout performer, isn't there? Obviously, in Carl Janssen.
Yeah, he's not been bad.
Yeah, he hasn't been too shabby, and I don't know whether it's just the traditional opinion just to go for him, but
I don't think we can, unfortunately.
other than the champion, okay, at least that opens it up. That's good enough anyway. I'll have a look through the stats and whatnot as
Awesome.
we drag someone up for a final interview. So, who should we go for?
I think we should go for Josh Thompson.
All right,
I
he'll
think
probably be a bit surprised considering he hasn't been here tonight, but we'll get him in
hasn't.
anyway.
But of course, he has won several races so far this season, and Josh, good to have a word with you. And well, of course, wasn't around today, but overall this season, you won a lot of races. You were leading, I think, after maybe the first round, or you were certainly in championship contention. Of course, the change to the BMW kind of ended your chances, but overall, you can take some positives out of this.
Yeah, good that I missed tonight, really. I thought I was going to get back for race 2, race 3 area because I was away this weekend, but obviously everything decided to go against me for that, so it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, like you said, I think this season, again, was another one of them seasons like what could have been. Obviously, you look back and yeah, there's a few things I would change. Obviously, I think one's my mentality for it, like how I go about the racing. I mean, a few times, CCR did mention I was a bit moaning a lot about the car and stuff like that, which is true. Like, I'll put my hands up, I did, and obviously that drives people insane. So obviously, I think if I didn't have that, I think it'd been a lot easier. Well, to be more consistent, for example. But yeah, I think overall, I think that's the most wins I've ever had in the season. But I never actually led the championship, funny enough. Always, every time I have a good evening, I'd always go wrong in one race, which then would drop the points gain you'd get in the race 1 and 2, for instance. So that's something I need to work on for next season.
Of course, you're in the World Championship series. Would you say this series helps you with your race car for the World Championship? And do you think you'll carry on next season in order to get that experience?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the main reason why I switched to the BMW. Obviously, we qualified for the World Championship using the Ford, then the Porsche. But obviously, the Ford was my main car. So obviously, that's why I had a bit of an advantage in the Ford at the start of the season, because that's obviously the car did so many laps in. Same with my car, for instance. So obviously, switching to BMW, it just gave me a bit more of an advantage, just more track time, more time to learn what it's like in a race situation. Which definitely helped. Like at Spa for the first round, obviously qualifying was awful, but with the racecraft learning in this, like picking your way through the reverse grids, came in handy at the start. Managed to go like 10, 15 place in the first 2 laps, so it definitely came in handy.
Absolutely, and so you think you're going to stick with the BMW next season? And what are your aims for next season? Are you really going to go for the championship, or are you just going to make sure that you get a bit more experience in the car?
BMW, absolutely not. I think I'm crossing that off the list already before we even get to the season. I don't know. I'm probably just going to go. We can't. Obviously, you say you want to go one car, but the BOP is always changing. One season, one car is better than the other. So I have to say, obviously, tonight, if I came back, I was actually going to be driving the Ford if I made it back tonight again. So I'll probably end up being in the Ford next season. And with that, I'm probably going to go for a championship. I think this season, was my best shot at the championship. think last season the BOP against Foggy was not my strong point. I think that held me back a little bit. So next season, one car the entire season, set down. There's no moaning, no complaining, just full focus.
Will be great to see. And any other series as well that you're tempted to enter, either under CQR or Radicals, before we start next season of World GT?
I don't know. I just don't really have the time. Like Carl said, the World Championship drains you. Like, I've been drained. Obviously, I do like SCO, Neo, all those kind of series with Movano. So obviously, it's kind of hard to fit everything in because obviously they're like the major ones you have to focus for. But I think World GT, I think, is the best one for me at the moment because obviously it's GTEs, so it's the same as the World Championship. It's the same cars, so yeah, I feel like the World GT is probably the most you'll probably see me in at the moment, unless there's like a few other things that come up which might tempt me, which probably will happen.
Yeah, probably. And been good to talk to you and see you race out there this season, Josh. Anyone you'd like to thank before you let you go?
Yeah, massive thank you to you guys. Like the Esports Network this season, I think it's really helped the series grow, as Christian and probably everyone said already. It's been fantastic. All the admin guys, so Andy, Matt, all those guys, like without them, this series wouldn't be where it is, and it's a fantastic series. Everyone at CQR, again, I didn't have an actual team 2 seasons ago, and they took me on. So I'm happy brought home the team championship. That was one major goal. Obviously, we just missed out on the drivers, but maybe next season. And just everyone who took part of the season, like it made. I think this is the most competitive season we've had, and probably the best racing we've had. So hopefully, it carries on to next season.
Thanks, Josh, and I'm sure we'll see you soon on Apex Racing TV.
Thank you, guys.
Josh Thompson there. And that is it. We have got the driver of the season to go. Are we allowed to give it to Michael Blake, is the answer, Sam?
Probably not. I don't know what these rules are, though. But I feel as though we probably can't give it to a champion. They've won enough. It's got to be someone else, I think. But I'm not sure. I'm stumped. There's so many great drivers. It just feels harsh to give it to one of them.
Now, this is obviously great live TV as we look through the championship order to think of drivers that have done well over the course of the season. Ross McFarlane has done well. He wasn't here tonight, so he hasn't really been in the spotlight much. But just looking at his results over the course of the season, didn't take a win though, unfortunately. But despite that, he finished in the top 10 19 times out of his 27 appearances, and only finished outside the top 20 6 times over the course of the season. But then you can obviously vouch for Ben Hackerson, who took a win. Dave Baker, he finished inside the top 20 in 24 of his 27 starts, and didn't even win a race. Finished third 3 times between now and the end of the season. So if you wanted to argue for consistency in terms of picking up points and finishing in the top 20, aside from obviously Carl Janssen, who was our champion, and Christian Rose, who finished in second, you might want to give it to Dave Baker. But I'd like to know, and he didn't even DNF. Shows the quality of CQR Race Hub and why they wrapped up the teams championship. Those two finishing second and third, no DNFs at all. So it's going to be very difficult to split it between those two, in my opinion, anyway.
So we're saying either Baker or
Rose.
Baker or Rose, are we? Ooh, okie doke.
You could argue for Baker to the fact that he finished in third without even winning a race. That might swing the scales in his favour, but
I think we should go Baker. I think, seeing that he didn't win a race for the season, he ought to have some silverware come the end of the season. Of course, he did win the team's championship, but ought to have some other silverware for himself personally. So I think probably Dave Baker.
Considering that even though he missed a race meeting, he managed to still finish 100% of them, and only picked up 106 incidents along the way, which I reckon is, in the grand scheme of things, making him the safest driver of the season award anyway. So pretty good from him. And that's about it. It's now 11:05 here in the UK, and what is quite becoming a quite hot evening here, just incidentally. I don't know if that's just because of the room I'm in or because of the unseasonable warmth that we're getting outside. But that is it from here in the World GT Championship. We'll be back in a couple of months when the next season gets underway, and we hope that it'll be back on the iRacing Esports Network again so that we can cover it in front of as many people as possible. Obviously, BSRTC is back from its one week break on Thursday. That'll be on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. That's when the series heads to Donington for the first time in many a year. In fact, I think the last time we went there, I think I was actually behind the wheel. That was back in season 7, which was the end of the end of 2014, I think. That's how long ago it was. So we're talking about nearly 5 years ago. So that's going to be interesting. That'll be on Apex Racing TV at same time as we got started here, 10 past 8 or 8:15 British Summer Time. And we've got more action to come on here on the iRacing Esports Network and on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. So Sam, final thoughts from you before we go? Thoughts on the season?
Well, what a fantastic season it's been. The competitiveness of the drivers has been outstanding. We've seen so many different race winners, and just the series organisation as well has been absolutely superb. Some great racing, and we're just looking forward to season 6, of course. Of course, not too many changes, and we're very thankful of that. And well, it'll be fascinating to see who can take away the title. Carl Janssen, I believe, with his second World GT title, but you would not bet against several other drivers challenging him next season. Of course, Michael Blake as well with that AM Championship, showing how consistency can really give you awards. And what a fantastic season 6 it is going to be.
Okay, well, thanks to Sam for filling in, not for filling in, for joining me in the commentary box over the last 9 weeks, and also thanks to Andrew Woodhouse for filling in for the opening race meeting. He obviously had some fun there with some of the biggest crashes we had of the season at the Glen, and thanks to every single driver that has come in and spoke to us over the race meetings, and everybody that has contributed on the YouTube chat and viewed or liked or even subscribed to the iRacing Esports Network as well. It's been a pleasure being on here over the season, and hopefully we'll get to do it all again in a couple of months' time. So to summarise, Carl Janssen is the Pro Champion, Michael Blake is the Pro Am Champion, and CQR Racer were the Teams Champions of the World GT Championship Season 5. We'll see you in a couple of months from all of us here at the iRacing Esports Network. Bye for now.